Hello, good morning all to
Good
APAC
morning, all.
Virtual
Yeah.
World Blockchain Symposium. This one-day virtual conclave will bring the best of the minds together from governance, from private sector, from various domains, who all will be discussing and deliberating upon various aspects of leveraging blockchain technology for a better tomorrow. We know that the blockchain technology, though in its early stage of adoption, has the potential to transform how government, private sector, and citizen engages together. Though very often grouped with AI or IoT, the technology is unique in its foundational nature. Unlike other technologies, which have the potential to deliver completely new services to citizens and other stakeholders alike, blockchain has the potential to revamp currently existing process to unlock new sources of efficiency and value. On the other hand, governance in India faces unique challenges given the scale, diversity, and complexity of processes involved to deliver varied public services. Blockchain offers a unique possibilities of addressing issues relating to improving governance. As business, by allowing self-regulation, India can considerably move towards improving the ease of doing business by allowing entities to interact through a trusted medium with a reduced dependency on cumbersome regulatory oversight and compliance by empowering citizens through features of transparency, decentralization, and accountability. Blockchain would help in improving ease of living. And for that, in the inaugural of World Blockchain Symposium, we have eminent speakers with us from governance sector, from India and abroad, who have implemented blockchain, who are also willing to implement blockchain in future, and someone who is also part of the blockchain drafting committee for Government of India. Let me introduce to all of you. We have with us Shri Manoj Mishra, Secretary Electronics and Information Technology Department, Government of Odisha. Thank you so much, Shri Mishra, for joining us.
My
We are
pleasure.
joined by Nawin Sona, Secretary to Government and Member Secretary
Morning.
Development Governance Office, Maharashtra. Thank you so much, Mr. Nawin Sona, for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Souvik.
We are joined by Dr. B.K. Murthy, Scientist G and Group Coordinator, R&D Information Technology, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. We welcome Dr. Murthy.
Thank you. Thank you, Souvik. Good
And
morning to
we're
all.
also joined by a special guest from Brazil, Suzana Maranhao, Digital Innovation Analyst, Brazilian Development Bank. We'll be joined by other speakers as well for the inaugural. The theme of the inaugural session is Rescripting New Age of Trust, Security, Traceability, and Transparency in Governance through Blockchain Technology, India and Global Perspective. Let me also thank our partners for this summit. This event is supported by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, and state partners, Government of Odisha, IT Department, and Telangana Government, and supporting partner Honeybee. Before we start the inaugural session, I'll ask my colleague to just play a short video we have made for this event, which will give an idea which all speakers are joining with us today throughout the day for various sessions on blockchain for pharma, blockchain for manufacturing, blockchain for agriculture, and also blockchain for governance. Let's have the video played. So you have seen the kind of speakers who will be joining us today, who have joined us today. So without taking much time, let me go to Sri Manoj Mishra, Secretary, Electronics and Information Technology Department, Government of Odisha, someone who has uh, leveraged blockchain technology for paddy cultivation, if I'm not wrong. Over to you, Sri Manoj Mishra. Your thoughts on blockchain technology and how it can transform governance in India.
Thank you, Souvik. It's a pleasure to be here amongst the eminent panelists, and especially technology leaders in the field of emerging tech like blockchain. I congratulate APAC. You have done tremendous good work in only about a year and a few months, and to come up with something like a World Blockchain Symposium, getting people from all around the world. Thank you for having me. Uh, Blockchain is not a solution in itself. So let me make it very clear. Uh, the solution that we in the government sector look for is a contactless, effortless, and wider reach of its services to people. Now, how do you achieve contactless, effortless, and a wider reach to people for government services without the use of technology? It is not possible. In fact, the COVID-19 pandemic has shown us that but for information technology and technology that was available with us, we would have struggled even harder to deal with this. You would know that the entire government machinery, whether at the state or the center, they did not falter. They did not break down during the pandemic, thanks to the technology. But the technology also has a different side. People generally who are not very advanced in their knowledge about technology do not trust technology that easily. Yes, mobile phone, yes, OTT platforms have made it easier for them to use some amount of technology. But when it comes to personal information, banking data, people are very hesitant in many spheres. Now, why does that happen? That happens because the biggest challenge to adoption of technology in a country, massive country like India, is the threat of security of the data. Now, that is where the blockchain comes in. Blockchain as a technology just makes the maze right, gives the solution for the person to find from point A to point B without having to worry about security and trust. So these are the two aspects of adoption of technology in this country where we still have a long way to go, are security and trust building. And a technology like blockchain, which is not very well understood till now. We understand AI, we understand machine learning, we even understand AR, VR, robotics, IoT, whatnot. But blockchain adoption in this country has not really taken off. So a symposium like this will educate all stakeholders, including me, to see how effectively it will work. In fact, I look forward to Mr. Murthy's presentation, who will tell us about the national blockchain stack, which government of India is developing, which will make it much easier for all of us to join the bandwagon. I'll just give one example what Odisha has done in the past 3 years in blockchain. We are the third largest paddy supplier to the national PDS system. Uh, Gone are the days when we were dependent on dependent for food security on other states. In fact, today we are the third largest contributor to the PDS. Now, paddy procurement itself is a very challenging task. There are many stakeholders involved, not only the farmer, but also the middleman, the miller, the banking system, the government, and then national agencies like Food Corporation of India, etc. The data on paddy procurement is a very sensitive data, and because large sum of money, almost about 20,000 crores, go in each year on procurement. Now that data sensitivity is such that if you play around with data, large amount of money from the government can go without any commensurate paddy procurement. So we thought when 3 years back when blockchain came in, we wanted to ensure that even government cannot tamper with its own data. So that is what we wanted, and we deployed a blockchain technology on the paddy procurement process. So every single data from that day onwards, when we deployed blockchain, is available. Any editing is available. So you can backtrace the topic which talks about traceability, security, and transparency in government has been successful in paddy procurement in government of Odisha because of adoption of blockchain. So I wish this symposium very well. I'll not take a long time because I would like to hear others on this field. And I would like all stakeholders to adopt more and more emerging tech so that we make it far more believable, trustworthy for people to adopt technology. That is the key. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sri Manoj Mishra, for giving a perspective on how the state government of Odisha has implemented blockchain for paddy sector. And as you have said that your message to all stakeholders that it's time for governments in India to use or leverage more and more emerging technologies for ensuring service delivery in a smooth way. A lot of emerging technology are being used by various state governments or in government of India, but a lot of more needs to be done, as you rightly said. And the aim of this conference was to create a knowledge sharing platform so that a comprehensive discussion can be made around blockchain technology. And we will be making an event report as well, which will be circulating to all stakeholders, so that not only a conference, but the outcome should be that some steps are being taken out of the discussion of this conference. Thank you so much, Manoj Mishra, Secretary IT and Electronics and IT Government of Odisha, for joining us in the inaugural of World Blockchain Symposium. And with this, I will move to another special guest we have with us from the state of Maharashtra. We have with us Sri Nawin Sona, Secretary to Government and Member Secretary Development Board Governance Office, Maharashtra, a bureaucrat who himself is a tech enthusiast who has got keen interest for blockchain as well. And if I'm not wrong, he has played a pivotal role in his earlier posting as the MD of Maharashtra Cotton Marketing Federation, where he tried to implement smart cotton project with keeping in mind the traceability factor by leveraging blockchain technology. So he can share a perspective as well. Over to you, Sri Nawin Sona.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Souvik. First of all, thanks for having me here, and thanks to APAC and Souvik for organizing this very timely conference. And good morning to all the participants, our esteemed panelists, and other participants who are joining us live. As Mr. Souvik mentioned, it was actually a very interesting confluence of problem and solution we found using blockchain in my previous role as part of the marketing department with the government of Maharashtra, and I was heading an organization which dealt with cotton market. So, and what you would be like quite surprised at the scale of operations of cotton industry, which is pivotal to the textiles. So in fact, the market is close to a $8 billion market, and our own organization was having close to 10,000 crores turnover. And to my utter surprise, when we came into this field, we found that the market for cotton, which is basically trading in bales, was highly unorganized. So this is a great use case which for blockchain is fine. Blockchain is a great technology which started with bitcoins and digital assets. So what about physical assets? So this was, I think, a very relevant question before all of us. Not everybody is going to trade in digital assets. So how do you merge this world of physical assets with the power the blockchain brings to digital assets? So let me give you, I'll take a minute to just outline the problem which we had and how we think is a great fit for blockchain. So the case I present to you is a cotton bale market. So each bale is, it's close to in a lot size of hundreds is a bale of 100 is a one lot of sale, which is about 25 lakh Indian rupees. So this is a huge volume which is being traded through the physical market. Now, this market is completely decentralized across the entire geography. 30% is exported. There are multiple players spread all over the state. Some of the buyers are all over the country. The exports are primarily to Bangladesh for the textile industry, to China, and to many of the Southeast Asian countries. So the lots we produced were actually being exported and consumed. The bales are opened out and consumed in China. It's consumed in Bangladesh, consumed in Vietnam. So what is the standards and of these bales? To the great surprise, even though it's a international market worth billions of dollars, it's a highly unstandardized product. So now we come to a point where it's a fractured market, decentralized market, with multiple entry and exit, and we got an unstandardized product and with unstandardized process of producing it, from the farm to the primary processing to the ginning industry, which actually makes it into bales. They were highly unstandardized, and there were no standards, and there was no way to check the standards. To the great surprise to people who see it from outside, is highly intermediated. So it's a broker driven market. The broker of the who enables the sale has the maximum information. So the high information asymmetry, the buyers don't know it, buyers don't know where the stock is. So how does blockchain fit into this? So after almost 2 years of looking at this, we came up. In fact, I made a presentation to the World Bank. So this is now a World Bank greenlit project. It's under development because of COVID delays. So the final approval from the board at Washington, the World Bank, has approved the project and it's underway. So now, can we use blockchain on a physical asset like a cotton bale, which is a commodity? Basically, it's commodity trading and creation of markets using blockchains. So we found a wonderful fit where the traceability part works very well. The blockchain, the traceability part, we can now put every item of data about the bale on the blockchain. For example, which is the geographic origin, which region of India, Maharashtra, our project, which is based out of, which region is it produced? What is the type of cotton? What is the grade of cotton being produced? In fact, we can go down to even a small parcel of land, which may be a few acres of land, a few hectares of land. And suppose if that produces the highest grade of cotton, that would be tagged to it. Now, second is the kind of labor practices. Is it equitable? Is there gender equality in the production? No child labor, right? Is it environment friendly? These could be tagged on to the product. And the third thing is the storage, contamination. You will be quite surprised. Every year there's a contamination survey on the textile industry. The Indian cotton loses out to global products like, in fact, we have panelists from Brazil. Brazil, we compete with Brazilian cotton all the time, Australian cotton all the time. And we fail because of contamination of the cotton. So whether it's contaminated, the storage, the transportation, the processing, everything could be standardized and put on a blockchain. Now, so in effect, we've got a value chain completely sitting on a blockchain. So we have a blockchain which becomes a value chain. Now we can add and delete costs to it. So we can even find better efficiency on the time delays, the transaction costs. Suppose the transportation is taking longer, we will be able to track it down. If the standards are falling in production, we will be able to tackle it. With the standards are falling in processing, we'll be able to tackle it. So in the end, we could achieve product standards, number one, and we could achieve process standards, which is very, very difficult because this is not a government controlled business. Government is not in the business of processing agriculture. So how does government and public policy enter private space of commercial processing? Hence, we thought we will enter it through standards. We'll set the standards. We will incentivize the stakeholders who want to adhere to these standards. And these standards, if certified, through a blockchain, if it is holding trust, then it would achieve a premium, and the premium is enormous in the global market. So we see, and the end result of this is creation of a trading platform, or you could say it's an Amazon of cotton. So the core of the project is, imagine Amazon with unstandardized products. Would you buy them? Imagine Amazon with nobody with untrustworthy sellers. You have no transaction security. You have no dispute resolution. So how would you transact? Your data is not safe. So we have succeeded in convincing the World Bank and the government of Maharashtra to come up with a trading platform which brings in the power of blockchain, and blockchain brings trust, traceability, and transparency, which is incidentally the core thing about today's conference. And why is transparency important? Let me tell you, the traditional market, who knows the product on the ground? Not even the buyer knows. It's only the intermediary, the broker. Now, ironically, $1 billion are traded on 2% sampling of the product. Unlike the US, where the 100% are tested, only 2% of the product is actually sampled. 98% quality rests on the 2% quality testing from a lab of this $1 billion market. Whereas if we put it on a blockchain, we would be going from 2% in a gradually we'll be able to grow into higher penetration of standards to each and every bale. Now, one of the few points I would like to make is, how is this going to affect the farmer? Is it beneficial for the farmer? Now, I think it's a big game changer for the producer. Now, for the first time, we see, which the World Bank really appreciated, is we see blockchain as a brand building tool. Suppose the farmer has invested extraordinary efforts into producing very high quality cotton. Let's say a group of farmers, they're able to achieve very minimal contamination, and you can attach a brand name to that product, to that region. Let's call it geographical indicators. It's like champagne or any other internationally geographically specific products. Not only that, if the group produces high quality products, you can build a brand on it. Now, the second point is, are we excluding the intermediaries? Because blockchain is largely about disintermediation and decentralization. But again, I beg to differ, because this is not a P2P cryptocurrency network. We want participation. So the participation I would come in from even the traders and the brokers could be part of the blockchain and have brand value. So if they support a bunch of people, I am a broker, I'm a brokerage firm dealing with commodities, I can support the brand value of a group of farmers. And with the traceability and the end result also being captured, mind you, the end result is the premium which these products are getting. If that is part of the blockchain, we can actually get more investment, get more capital into the production and the processing, and it's a win-win situation. Now, one of the tricky things is, I'll just make a few comments before closing my remarks. One is tokenization. It's a big buzzword, but do we really know how to use it? Can I put cryptocurrencies in a cotton bale market? I don't think so. In my personal opinion, it will be too premature to introduce let's say, a cotton coin and make it tradable. So what is the best other thing I can do? I can incentivize and tokenize the incentives, probably as a public policy, as a policy of building brands, of building trustworthiness. When we click on Amazon, we get 5-star sellers, 4-star sellers. Can we make the trust itself a token? Can we make the trustability of the product as a token? So the brand building and tokenization, I think, are very closely linked. The crux of the thing is, I think this is where the future lies and the good solutions lie, is how do you actually merge the physical and the digital? So IoT, there's again a lot of use cases of Internet of Things. So I'm looking at so many millions of bales. The life cycle of a bale is very ephemeral. It may sit in a godown for 6 months, and then it's going to be opened out, converted into yarn, and converted into thread and cloth and clothes. So can I trace that particular bale, that commodity, till its creation, till its opening and disappearance? So now here's where I think IoT and blockchain can work very well together. It could be as simple as RFID tags attached to bales. It could be certain localizations which you can attach to physical tracing of the products. So IoT, it can make these things more secure because it's very expensive product, and it could bring in insurance. What is the business sense in all of this? Number one, it can bring in a lot of insurance apart from getting in capital. Now, the last thing I want to mention is, which again, international bodies like the WTO and UNCTAD are very keen on, is trade finance. So what is trade finance? As a farmer, a farmer group, can I sit on my product for 6 months, wait for the market to go up and down, and raise some capital, and then wait over the period? For example, the COVID crisis, suppose if the market is crashing, can I sit over my product and find a better spot to sell my product? Where will I find the money to store? How will I recover my initial investments of production and processing? So I think when the product is standardized, like in a blockchain, it's a great tool for trade finance. I could go use the blockchain. I could use the documentation on the blockchain to raise capital as a collateral, as a digital collateral asset, which could be traded. In fact, the new Government of India policies are about tradable warehouse receipts, what we call warehouse receipts, WHRs. So can we put warehouse receipts of products on the blockchain? So this is where the product with our project is heading. So we build this framework and we create a market not only of the product, but we create a market for financial assets based on the product, which will bring in huge money, reduce, increase the working capital, offset the production costs. It can help people go over dips in the market cycle, and also bring in a trustworthiness which is lacking in very fractured market, very, very challenging market like the agriculture market. Unstandardized product, unstandardized processes, and the blockchain, I think, is a great solution. And I'm quite happy to say that Government of Maharashtra is the state at which I work in. Government of India are very keen, but the potential is still being, it's at the tip of the iceberg. And I think all the panelists will highlight that we need to make this stack disappear. One fine day, none of us know about TCP/IP anymore. It's just part of the stack of internet. So this is just a security layer sitting on the stack of the internet. So for the farmer, I think it'll be just another app. For the trader, he need not even know that it is a blockchain. And I think the day we reach that level of comfort, this technology will spread. And I think a lot of people will appreciate the power. And with these few words, I close my comments. I'm sorry if I've taken more time, Mr. Souvik. And I'm thank you and the organizers for having me over. And I wish a lot of learning for the participants for throughout this day. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, Sri Nawin Sona, Secretary to Government and Member Secretary Development Board Governance Office Maharashtra, for detailing his expectation from the blockchain technology, how it can transform governance, and also what kind of work been done in Mahakot earlier for the Smart Cotton project, and also you talked about how can we make trustability a token for a brand building, and also you talked about how the future lies in making blockchain a necessity, not only luxury, to transform governance in India. Thank you so much, Nawin Suna. We are joined by a special guest, Sri J. A. Chowdhary, Chairman, Indian Blockchain Standards Committee. He doesn't need any introduction. He'll be delivering the keynote address. Let me have a perspective from Mr. J. A. Chowdhary. Mr. Chowdhary, my question to you will be that how can we rescript new age of trust, security, traceability, and transparency in governance through blockchain technology? The India perspective, or maybe the global perspective. Your take on that, Mr. Chaudhary. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Souvik, Goswami. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to join this forum. It's a very, very important session that you brought in for discussion today. As Mr. Nateshan, Secretary Government of Maharashtra, gave a lot of examples about how they're implementing blockchain. See, blockchain technology today, unlike many other emerging technologies, today you see a lot of emerging technologies people are talking about, like AI, ML, and all that. All these technologies are already being implemented in various applications. But blockchain technology, why ISO or Bureau of Indian Standards, we are struggling to come out with a new standard, because this is a fundamental technology. We cannot just like that, allow people to use the blockchain left, right, center, and all that. Because as Mr. Nateshan was mentioning, one day it may disappear and also be part of every underlying technology like internet, various stacks or all that. That's the reason why we under the ISO globally, we are coming out with the global standards, because this is going to fundamentally change the way we are doing the business today. It's going to transform this is the only trust protocol in the recent times which is really giving the assurance to a common citizen that suppose something is already blockchain, that means this is definitely I can trust this particular data. Suppose my lands are blockchain and it is available, nobody can tamper, nobody can change my name and sell to others and all that. All these things, that kind of a trust building exercise is going to happen once we truly implement blockchain technology world over. But unfortunately, in the last 10 years, blockchain itself is going through various transformation in terms of the technology. Various standards are getting out of it once in a while. So people are getting little confused and all that. That's the reason why we are spending a lot of time in bringing the standards for India and also standards, global standards through ISO. Let me tell you a few examples where blockchain really helped. For example, some implementations. When I was with the government of Andhra Pradesh, we that time about 5 years back, we wanted to use blockchain technology in the land registration. We wanted to do a small pilot before rolling out in the entire state of Andhra Pradesh. So we took Amaravati because that's a new capital city area. So we wanted to, a small area, we wanted to do the blockchain technology implementation for those land records in Amaravati region. In the one sub-register office, we had the entire technology through a startup company got implemented. The problem came, the procedures of the sub-registration office, how these documents are to be processed and registered. Today, there's a whole lot of changes required to be brought in the state laws or central laws on the land registration and selling, buying, and all this. Unless we do that, just by implementing the technology, we cannot get the results out of it. That's where we could not go further on the land registration, because unless we bring the land reform, that's where in most of the, even in the hospitals, we want to introduce the blockchain for the health records. similar kind of regulatory issues came into the issues, and we could not really go forward, even the healthcare records and all that. But one day, the way things are happening, one day it has to be done. We have to change our rules, because ultimately we are responsible for common citizens' ease of doing business. Every government is trying to bring some new laws for the ease of doing business, not only for corporates to start their company, even for citizens to get anything for him. The lands have to be secured. Whatever lands he has got, whatever assets he has got. I mean, today, particularly in the real estate area, lots of heresy is happening, and common people are not able to reach out to the concerned people and get the justice. This thing. So all that can be eliminated once we are able to implement such a fundamental technology like blockchain technology, by removing all the flaws in the current system, the regulatory system, all those things. I mean, government at various state level, also the central level, we have to bring in these new reforms, which will enable the implementation of the blockchain technology in a big way. That will ultimately help the common citizen. For example, today we are talking about the Data Privacy Act, which is in the Parliament. Hopefully soon it will be enacted. Once the Data Privacy Act is enacted, for example, I get admitted in one hospital today, in a private hospital. We don't know what all the tests they have done, and what all my clinical records have been given to somebody else by the hospital for research purposes, or the selling the data and all that. I don't have any clue, because they give a simple paper, discharge summary, and the rest of the my all the other reports, X-ray reports or MRI reports, all those things are with the concerned hospital. If blockchain technology is implemented in all the hospitals, is mandated, my health records without my permission, they cannot give that information to anybody for that matter. And if they give that my information, I will obviously ask them, I need a royalty on whatever information that you are giving to some XYZ pharma companies or research companies and all that. So not only I'll be benefited in terms of I'll be getting some kind of a revenue out of my information being shared to other companies. Plus, I know that my information is secure and they are not giving to some Tom, Dick, and Harry and all that. So all that the personal sensitive information today, most of the citizens have got, they don't have any clue that who are all using our sensitive information. Anybody can use, particularly the cyber hackers. Happily, they're getting the entire information. They know how to really breach into a network, because they know our date of birth, they know our all the this thing. So this is where, I mean, we have to use a fundamental technology like blockchain technology, which is which has got the trust protocol. People will get the trusted kind of information that yes, I not have to worry. They have implemented a protocol called blockchain technology. So my information is whatever information is available in the hospital or in the government or any public information, my information is secure. Similarly, my assets, whether land assets or building assets, and everything is secure and all that, because there are that information has been blockchain. Nobody can tamper my information, all that. So while these things are happening in the government, because of the some of the regulatory complexities, we are not able to implement that effectively, in spite of progressive states like Telangana state and state of Maharashtra and Odisha and other states are implementing, including Tamil Nadu state also. They implemented a lot of applications in the blockchain technology. Still, unless we bring some of the fundamental changes in the regulation and some of the laws to be amended to suit that, this kind of technology can be seamlessly implemented, so that end of the day people will get the benefit out of it. In the private sector, I'm the chairman of one company called Caltech company. Recently, we have implemented for a European company. They are into commodity trading. They were one of the largest commodity trading companies in the world. And whenever the commodities from one port to the other port is getting exchanged, a lot of documentation, everything was in a manual, in the manuscript form. And a lot of times, I mean, they used to lose the documents. Somebody used to take advantage of taking away the documents and selling away those products elsewhere and all that this thing. So for them, we gave a product called Sara, which is a blockchain and AI product. Using that, they are able to bring a lot of efficiencies, a lot of fraud. They are able to this thing. Now we created a joint venture with that company in Singapore. Now we want to help other commodity trading companies also give the same kind of technology. So private sector definitely, wherever the supply chain, logistics, and all that this thing, apart from trade finance in the banking sector, the lot of applications are being implemented, and also tokenization is also another very big thing. Asset tokenization in many countries, they are doing asset tokenization. Suppose there is some properties there in Hyderabad, and the entire property I cannot buy because I don't have that kind of money. If somebody can tokenize this property and make this property into say 1,000 tokens, probably I can buy. I can own one small token of that property. So blockchain technology can be used in such this thing, so that people can own property which otherwise not possible for him to own. All these possibilities are going to be enabled through the blockchain technology. I am certainly hopeful that the standards, once the standards are out, people are going to use these global standards and build a lot of applications, and parallelly, probably all the state governments and also government of India will bring some of the fundamental changes, like I mentioned in the sub-register office, and how they can bring those changes to enable blockchain technology to be implemented effectively. And moreover, the healthcare information, that's a very, very sensitive information of all the citizens of this country. I think we have to definitely bring blockchain technology kind of technology in the entire healthcare system, so that people's information is not shared by this the healthcare departments and the healthcare companies. So that's very, very sensitive, and I'm sure that it's going to happen. And since we are witnessing as a part of the standards body for the blockchain technologies, standards are going to emerge, and these standards are going to be used by many corporates, because interoperability is a very, very important thing. Unless there are global standards and also Indian standards, then only the startup companies can build as per those standards, so that the applications can be interoperable and all that. Many more applications are going to come into the Indian soil as well as the global soil. I'm once again, I want to thank the organizers for giving me the great opportunity to participate in this conference. I'm really actually learning a lot from various governments like Maharashtra government, and also the probably other speaker from Odisha is going to also talk about what implementation they are doing in their respective states. I really want to thank Mr. Goswami for giving me this opportunity to be part of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. J. Chowdhary, Chairman, Indian Blockchain Standards. You talked about that fundamental change in regulation had to happen, and I'm sure government is also in discussion to make blockchain more effective for governance. And I'm sure Dr. B.K. Murthy will be shedding some light on the government of India's thinking on that. We'll come to him. Also, you gave the example of how AP government tried to use blockchain for the land registration process. Also for the healthcare sector. You talked about blockchain standards, and I'm happy to share with you that we have a session today on blockchain standards interoperability as well today, which will be attended by the fintech digital transformation leaders from various aspects as well. With this, as you can understand, the name of the conference is World Blockchain Symposium, and we're having eminent speakers from various parts of the world, be it Brazil, be it Netherlands, be it other parts of South Asia. We'll be having all of them. But for the inaugural, we have a special guest from Brazil. Let me introduce to all of you Suzana Maranhao, Digital Innovation Analyst, Brazilian Development Bank. We welcome Suzana for joining us. Thank you so much. And she'll be sharing a global perspective on blockchain for governance. So over to you, Suzana. Your thoughts on how blockchain is being used in the country of Brazil, or maybe what is the future? Over to you, Suzana.
So first, thank you very much for having me. I'm learning a lot in the event, and my honor to talk to you. I bring here this presentation. I hope you are seeing my screen. Could you please confirm?
Yes, we can see your presentation.
That's good. Thank you. So, so what I'm going to share today is an initiative for the government to create an infrastructure for blockchain to help to foster the ecosystem. So I think the previous speakers make my life easier because you have already introduced a lot of topics, so I can go faster in the beginning. So I just wanted to highlight the idea that technology. I also don't need to talk it as much as it's a very well known fact, but technology is disrupting a lot of industries, and we have to think about how is the role of technology in the government itself. So I could talk a lot about many different aspects and many different technology, but the idea here is to focus about trust. So are we facing a trust crisis? I'm not like the person to answer that, but I can bring some facts. So I took these facts from the Human Trust Barometer. They researched trust for more than 20 years. And they are saying different sentences that I put here. Also, OECD are saying that only 45% of citizens trust their own government in 2019. And also, it varies a lot among different countries. So we have seen that many developing countries are facing even higher issues to trust the government. So with that, I think it's very intuitive that we can arrive in the trust machine, like in the blockchain or DLT, I'm using like a synonyms, to generate trust and to help to cope with this issue. So I just want to say that for me, this is the best definition of blockchain, DLT, and also I think it was really well said in the previous speakers. It's an option to generate trust. So nowadays, if you look at what the government are doing, there is a lot of concern about is the government too big? Should we hire private sector to do some things that we do? And in general, we can do a lot. We can delegate a lot of things to private sector. But if you look closer, what's really the government providing to society? You will arrive a lot in trust. The government is providing trust to make things happen. And really, I think the potential of these technologies is too big. So I'm not the only one saying that. There are many reports talking about the potential of blockchain in the government, and people also talk here. So we, like in Brazil, we did some studies on that, and we also confirm that in the mapping that we did about the ecosystem in Brazil, that people, the startups are waiting for some, are waiting on, but they are hoping for some actions from the government to help to promote the ecosystem as a whole. And we are really aware that it's very hard to implement solutions in the space because, as was said before, we are talking about a foundational technology. So among different barriers, we classified that in 4 domains, like the infrastructure, partnership, and governance, regulation, and education. And we put here some examples of that. So for the scope of this presentation, we are very concerned about how difficult it is to have a network to run different applications. So if it's Facebook or if it's Google needs to create the internet, perhaps we did not have this technology today, right? So it's true there are some public networks, but there are also true that if you go to public alternatives, you are like you have to cope with the variation, the very high variation of the crypto actives that you need to pay to use this network. So it's really not a good alternative as well. So, and also we are talking a lot about government, and I think it's very important to reiterate the idea of interoperability and coordination issues, because if you left each solution coming from the government or coming from the country to go to different alternatives, we will in the end arrive with no interoperability among these initiatives. So we need also to have like some coordination on these alternatives. So I'm also very happy that the previous speakers talk a lot about standards. I'm also part of ITU that's promoting standards to global operation. I think it's really crucial to what we are talking about. And legal recognition of registries. I also want to highlight this point because I'm going to talk about a national network to run applications. And for us, it's really important to have the information here, like sovereignty, in order to help the regulation to be approved. So it's much easier to have like Brazilian laws, government applications that's dealing with data that are in Brazil and are governed by networks in Brazil. So we will really have the potential of the technology enable. So considering all that and considering initiatives that we have in the world, so some years ago, we started to study them. And so we arrived at Elastria, that's a blockchain initiative in Spain. There's a public and partner and private and public initiative. Also in Europe, they have like an initiative to use case for cross-country the European Union. And in Latin America, we have the blockchain. There's an initiative proposed by the International Development Bank to promote inclusion in the region. So considering this scenario, like 2 years ago, we started the idea to create a project here. And actually, we did a partnership with blockchain because they are like a development bank, and we are also a development bank. So for us, it was easier to be close to them. So we did an MOU with them. We are also very interested in their technology to promote inclusion. But in our case, we want to create a solution, another network to promote innovation in public interest application with special emphasis on enabling trust for anti-fraud and pro-transparency measures. So we want to increase the trust of the society in the government and the trust of the government on itself. So this initiative is composed in 3 parts, like governance, network, and services. So I just want to go very fast on each of them. So in terms of technology, we are really happy to use the technology provided by blockchain. It help us. It's enough to us. So what they have a network in Latin America with more than 100 nodes, like in 15 countries. And they have the vision that they should not be only one network, right? They should be, because of many reasons, the idea is not to create a unique network, but a set of networks that can interoperate with each other. And we are one of them. We are here in Brazil, creating a national network for Brazil. We are using this idea of different nodes. I just bring it here because I want to put a very special point, because we have like validators that are like doing the core operation of blockchain, providing trust with the consensus algorithm. So we have boot nodes that are more technical thing, but we have writer nodes that are the legal responsible for applications. And we have this observer node that for us, it's crucial. So we have some way that anyone can deploy a node and see, we used to say, with their own digital eyes, what's happening in the network. So it's very difficult to have access to the information using an API and using a blockchain node, because if you are using a blockchain node, you are part of the computation, you are seeing what's happening, and you have no reasons to question what's the information that you are reading. So with that, with this infrastructure, we believe that we can achieve our purpose. In terms of governance, what we are thinking and what we are doing, because we have a lab network. We are not in production, but we have a lab network. we are talking with different parts of the government. So we are saying that we are a network for public interest, but we do not have like an owner. We don't want that the president is the owner of the network, for example. So we, as a nation, we are divided in different powers. Like, so we have the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary powers. We also have state level and federal level. We have the academic that can help. We have IDB that can help here in the international part. So we want to create a network with different powers, and these different powers will cooperate to generate this infrastructure. And we are really concerned to create like a Byzantine way to deal with that, in order to avoid, like, in the end, to have only one owner of the network. But on the other hand, not one owner, but a collaborative network to arrive in the result. And so related to use case, I bring here just the crucial one. I bring here the identification one. So I just want to say that instead of create like an identification on the network, what we are doing is using the existing trust that we already have in our PKI, like a public key infrastructure. We have like digital certificates. And they are really well used for institutions. So for institutions, it's really easy to create a bridge among the existing infrastructure and different blockchain address that we can use in the network. For persons, it's a bit harder, because we need to comply with privacy laws. So there are special solutions to that. So as I said before, there are many potential applications. I put here like the ones that we are more advanced. We are already discussing. We have some implementation on that. And I just want to conclude bringing again the trust that I said before, the issue of trust. And we are a development bank. So in the past, we create a lot of bridges, a lot of roads, a lot of ports. So the idea here is that we can also still continue to create infrastructure, but an infrastructure that's digital, and that we truly believe that shape a new society, because with more trust, we have more development. And these are my words. Thank you very much. And with that, I will stop the sharing screen.
Thank you so much, Suzana, from the Brazilian Development Bank. You talked about the trust chain. You referred to a magazine cover, and how Brazilian government is trying to build that ecosystem where we talk about governance, network, and services. That is the core of, if I may say, Brazilian blockchain governance model, and how you're implementing technology in that sense to take blockchain to various levels of governance, judiciary, legislative, everything. So thank you so much. And I must inform our viewers that if I'm not wrong, I think it's 2 at night in Brazil right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's the middle of the night.
that actually also shows your seriousness about the blockchain subject, that you're joining us from Rio in Brazil at 2 a.m. in the morning, where in India it's now 11 a.m. in the morning, and from other parts also guests are joining. But thank you so much, Suzana, for joining us for the inaugural of World Blockchain Symposium, and share a perspective on how Brazil in blockchain is being leveraged by the governance. And now we have a
Thank you very
special
much.
guest, Dr. B.K. Murthy, Scientist G and Group Coordinator R&D in Information Technology, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Man who is quite important for the blockchain ecosystem in governance in India. He's representing the Ministry of IT in Government of India, and somebody who has played a very important role for the drafting of the blockchain policy, if I say so. So let's have a perspective from Dr. B.K. Murthy. He'll be giving a presentation on what is the future of blockchain in India in terms of government thinking. Over to you, Dr. B.K. Murthy.
Thank you very much, Souvik. It's a great pleasure to be here among this August gathering, and the great speakers are there, and we are having a very good time so far. And keep that. Hope that this will be continued whole day with a lot of fruitful discussions. Let me share my screen and then we'll talk about some of the issues. Are you able to see this?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be talking about India blockchain stack that we are planning and the national strategy on blockchain that we have released for public consultations. It is in the final round of final shape, and now we are starting what is development of India blockchain stack framework for providing trust and transparency and traceability in the e-governance applications. So blockchain pilots have been deployed in India over the last almost 5-6 years. People are developing a lot of applications for property registration and management system, certification verification system for employees or employers, and citizen-centric health record management, eliminate counterfeit drugs, supply chain management, paddy procurement, fintech, B2B transactions, and many more applications have been deployed over the last few years. And several startups in the process have been emerged, and industry and academia and national R&D labs and government organizations are also have developed a lot of applications in this. Many applications gone beyond the deployments, and large-scale live applications are also now available. So a need was felt to have uniform standards and interoperability and scalability. That is how we have initiated and formulated the committee for the blockchain standards and interoperability last year. And blockchain as a service is also another important issue that people are talking about. Yeah, in spite of blockchain applications have been deployed in various places, but people actually in the government sector and public sector, people are using only 8% of the total blockchain pilots have been developed. So those some of the applications which were developed as a pilot project by various stakeholders are land title registry, citizen electronic health record management, digital certificates, benefit distribution, eliminating the counterfeit drugs, farm insurance, identity management, power distribution, duty payments, vehicle life cycle management, organ tracking for the transplantation, and rationing and e-governance applications. Some of these applications have been developed, but out of that, only 8% of these applications are on live, and large-scale applications are very few. So, but what is the national scenario? Yes, many state governments have developed a lot of applications. We have seen just now Mr. Manoj Mishra from Odisha government IT secretary. They have done for paddy procurement, and government of Maharashtra for cotton and other various use cases they are using it. And Assam public service delivery, and Delhi monitoring and growth of maintenance of saplings and plants, and Goa for land registry. Like that, many of these states, almost all states, have started deploying the blockchain for various other applications. So many startups have been evolved during this process. Startups have the agility to adapt into various technologies and then agility to do business at various levels. So that is the advantage of the startup companies. So that is why many startup companies have evolved, and the government is ready to work with these startup companies also for various deployments. So there are Spring Roll is one. There are many type of applications have done. Basically, these startups fall in different categories. One is the technology. Some people are developing the core technology application like token trading, protocols, and other consensus algorithms, all those things. And some BFSI also is there, faster and cheaper remittance, and financial sector also people have developed it. And in healthcare sector, yes, large scale applications are there. E-governance, a lot of applications have already been seen, and then people are using these things. And retail and CPG and FMCG, people are already using it. HR also people are using for employment verification or the certificate verification, academic qualification verification for the recruitment. Many of the people are using it. So property registration as a challenge, just I will take one or two use cases and then move on to the need for the India stack. So this property registration is most common irregularities present in the existing property registration system. What we could see that double registration, double selling of the same property, that's why leading to a lot of litigations, and most of the cases are landing into the courts, and the courts will take its own time to come out of this. By the time either the one of the contenders will be alive, or maybe some of them may be died by the completion of the court case. So protecting fake documents for registration and insider attack, traditional database related attacks or database modifications are being done by having some hand in glove with the criminals. So requirements from the land registration department is that electronic ledger, we wanted to have it, and reliable. It should be time stamped and geotagged, transparent, traceability and tamper evident, leading to trust, providing non-repudiability of proof of each transaction, implicit linked document, that is title, history, verification. And some of these requirements have been given by the land registration department. So if you see the existing property registration system is that sub-registrar office is there, buyer and seller will go to the sub-registrar office and then generating the check slip number, and accordingly he will get the verification and then encumbrance certificate he will get it. Based on that, assigning the regular document number, and that is stored in the local database after completing the registration. That will go. So that is how the existing system is there. The challenge that were faced while implementing the system is this is a legacy system. We don't want to displace the existing system, legacy system, and then stop it and then take it on board the blockchain system. So what we have done is on the existing legacy system, we want to build the blockchain system, blockchain layer separately. So that is where we have done it. The CDAC Hyderabad team and others have, and Telangana government and together have done it and implemented for Shamshabad district. So the verification of the owner, what we have done is that whenever the sub-registrar wants to get the application for the property registration, it will refer to the blockchain. And once that blockchain has given a green signal and encumbrance certificate has been generated, that will be produced to the sub-registrar and buyer and seller. Based on that, the registration is done. If one of them, buyer or seller, tries to do, or the intermediary tries to do the double selling, immediately the encumbrance certificate will give an alert to the sub-registrar officer that so-and-so document has already been sold only last 2 months, and these are the documents which is a duplication and then came for double selling. Some of these alerts will stop doing some of these frauds, and this was successfully implemented, and then worldwide it was recognized very well, and many states are trying to adopt this. So it deployed in the Shamshabad district and then Telangana state, and live transactions are being recorded on blockchain from the last year and last 2 years, and 75,000 data have already been migrated. There are 11 nodes have been set up across various CDAC centers who are providing the technological support to the Telangana government, and 15 plus statewide registration per minute are happening every time, and provides reliable encumbrance search without any manual interactions, reduces the manpower efforts, and revenue can be generated from citizen for each encumbrance certificate that has been generated. The advantage of this is that now the scalability wise, yes, 15 right now, because of the low transaction levels of the registrations of the land, the 15 transactions per minute, still it is very high when compared to the type of use case that has been selected. But the system has flexibility and the capability of scaling up to the at least 3,000 plus transactions per minute. So that is the beauty of the system, efficiency of the system. So the other use case is certificate chain verification, ensuring suppose an employer wants to recruit some people, and today we all know that there are many educational institutions, many training institutions are there, skill development institutions are there across the country. In at least in hundreds and thousands of certificates are coming, and we do not know various qualifications and then various certificates whether they are genuine or not. So what we have done is that, first of all, for Karnataka and Rajasthan, these CBSC certificates were put on blockchain, and the local body birth certificates. So the verifications can be done. This type of certificate verification can be done either for birth certificates or the student's academic qualification, or some of the educational institutions or training institutions and government department, professional courses, or police department, or employers will be using this certificate chain. So some of these were implemented. This certificate chain, again, the traditional certificate verification process is a lengthy process. Whenever the organization wants to recruit any person, he will first send that certificate to the original application or the where that was issued, and after some times they verify the records, and then maybe it will take some few months to few years also for getting this verification of the certificates, whether they are bona fide certificates or not. And what we have done is, in this, take the same certificate at the time of issuance, put it in the blockchain, and whenever the student receives the certificate and then submits the same certificate for verification for employment purpose in some other departments, they can verify with respect to the blockchain whether this is original certificate or this is a fake certificate, and it can be done within a few hours and very less time. The time can be saved a lot. So like this, many applications have been done. So because of the hype cycle, that the adoption stage is still at the present is still in the pilot and deployment stage, and large scale applications are being developed. This is the right time for getting a uniform standards and interoperability among various deployments of the blockchain technologies for the ease of use by the various stakeholders. So that is where, and also for each government department, whenever they want to adopt this technology, they don't have to go for various technologies and then identify which technology can suit them, all those things. So these interoperability issues can be taken care of, and also it can be connected to various other applications, e-governance applications like DigiLocker or the Umang and other application databases can be connected very easily. So that is where we have tried, and then this in the future, when we are trying to adapt to the larger domains, such problems will come across. Keeping that in mind, what we have designed is that these challenges are there while adopting such large-scale applications. Scalability. Nowhere in the world there is a large-scale application which is around millions of records are there in this in the blockchain technology is still not yet proved, and we need to have, whenever we want to have an e-governance application for a country like India, where there are billion plus people are there who will be transacting on these things, and number of transactions are also very high. So we need to have very robust and scalable system whenever we want to adapt for the convenience of the citizens. So data security and privacy is important, standardization and interoperability, regulatory aspects, and ecosystem and supporting the framework that is required. Decentralized infrastructure is required, and also some of the pool of talent that is also required for this purpose. And that is where we need for a blockchain, unified blockchain framework or an India stack is required for adoption for various e-governance applications. To architect and unified blockchain framework and technology stack for rapid end-to-end secure and scalable and interoperable application development and deployment. That is the main objective of this. And demonstrate and evolve unified blockchain framework and application for distributed infrastructure, easy integration with existing services, namely that DigiLocker, eSign, ePraman, Umang, and other applications. Technology stack with open APIs, and also linking with the national data highway, that where we wanted to have an interoperability between various e-governance applications, and APIs need to be provided for that as well. and also provide blockchain as a service rather than each department is constructing their own blockchain infrastructure. We wanted to have a centralized blockchain infrastructure and provide it as a service to various stakeholders. So blockchain sandbox requires that and provides a testbed for developing solutions before deploying in various applications. So this is where slightly a crowded slide. This is the complete unified blockchain framework that we are talking about. And if it is implemented fully, you will have a complete property chain and health chain, supply chain, and education chain for each of these domains in the e-governance applications. Electronics and semiconductors and public distribution system and agricultural domain. In various domains, you will be having a complete blockchain, and it will have different components depending on their application, whether you can use the platform layer, either Hyperledger or Ethereum or any other blockchain platform that we are involving. All those things will be interoperable at this level, and on top of it, we will have a chain interoperability for connecting with various applications like national data highways. And domain-specific smart layer can be created on top of it. And depending on the application, we may require the certifying agency for the developing the consensus algorithm or software security modules or some QKD for the high level of security and transparency, quantum security type, quantum QKD type of this is also required at that stage. And asset creation, based on this asset creation and asset user linking and ownership transfers and asset tracking. These are some of these applications. On top of it, various developers will be developing their own applications with the collaboration with the various stakeholders of this. And it can be linked to the eSign, DigiLocker, and other ePraman applications where you need not submit the same application along with other photocopies of or maybe copies of various other qualification certificate for applying for your passport or for any other employment in any other department. And such documents, proof of existence of such documents can be created as a separate blockchain, and it can be linked to the DigiLocker. So that is the main advantage. Based on that, we wanted to set up a sandbox and different distributed infrastructure for this blockchain storage also. So then the end users and the different levels of experts also can contribute on this. There will be a research team and application team and platform development team, and people who are deployment and operations team can be collaboratively work together to make it as a successful project, where we wanted to create the whole stack in collaboration with all the developers, including the startup companies and national level R&D labs, premier academic institutions, and other organizations. So far, we have identified around 11 organizations to develop this stack, and also we will be having very soon a stakeholders meeting where the other industry participants and this the startup companies who are being developing a lot of applications, they will also be taken on board depending on their performance and their capabilities, what they can contribute for designing this India stack. So they mentioned what I have mentioned in the previous slide, like these different components will be coming. This is a loosely coupled stack which are from various stakeholders who are developing individually, and take them on board and then combine into an India stack. So this is a complete Team India effort of various academic institutions or various R&D labs or some of the startups and industry, big industries like Tech Mahindra, TCS, and Infosys and whatnot, all other, even the startup companies. All of these people can be contributing to this. And finally, we'll come out with a national level India stack for e-governance application and other applications. This will be useful even for private industry, also for developing various applications for their commercial purposes also. So that's where we wanted to design this India stack. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. This blockchain will provide the trust, transparency, and traceability. That is our motto. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Dr. B.K. Murthy from Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India, for sharing with us a comprehensive roadmap of blockchain technology being used for governance in India with a India blockchain stack framework, and how it will try to ensure traceability, transparency, and security and trust. Most importantly, trust factor in the governance ecosystem. And what a coincidence! The tagline of APEC World Blockchain Symposium is also "New Age of Security, Traceability, and Transparency." Thank you so much, Dr. Murthy. I was going through a presentation. In one point, you have mentioned a very important part. I think that's also the opportunity. You said that I think that was a report by NASCOM on Indian blockchain adoption in the year 2019. In that report, it talks about that only 8% blockchain use cases in public sector are there. So I think that's a huge opportunity for government in India, for the technology solution providers in India, where a lot of things can be done. I think this is just 8%, and imagine a country of 130 crore.
Maybe that 8% might have gone to 10% by now. 2 years have passed by because of
So it's a
technology
long way to
adoption.
go, but it's a huge opportunity and possibility of
Yes.
using blockchain in that effective manner. Before we conclude the inaugural session, let me also take this opportunity to thank each and every speaker of the inaugural session. We have a small certificate appreciation of token for all of you. Let us hand over the digital certificates to our speakers in the inaugural. Let's start with Dr. B.K. Murthy. Let's have the certificate to be given to Dr. B.K. Murthy from Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Prabhakar, can we have the certificate on screen, please? So this is a certificate given to Dr. B.K. Murthy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
A certificate given to Suzana Maranhao from Brazilian Development Bank. Thank you so much, Suzana. And we'll be also mailing you these certificates and also WhatsApping you. Also, certificate to J. Chowdhary, Chairman India Blockchain Standards. Also, certificate to Mr. Nawin Sona. Also, certificate to Mr. Nawin Sona from Government of Maharashtra. And also to Mr. Manoj Mishra, Secretary Electronics and Information Technology Department, Government of Odisha. That brings us to the end of the inaugural of World Blockchain Symposium, which is organized by APAC News Network and supported by Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India, and State Government, Government of Odisha and Government of Telangana. Let me also take this opportunity to inform our viewers and audience that later on in the day, we'll start the next session at 12 noon, which will talk about blockchain-led innovations in pharma sector, the present and the future. That session will be moderated by my colleague, Mr. Sudhir Gautam, resident editor and head South India APAC News Network, and pharma digital transformation leaders will be present in that session. It will be followed by a session on blockchain for manufacturing session, and then a blockchain for maybe fintech session, if you can say so. That will talk about blockchain standards interoperability. Also, a session on blockchain in agriculture, and then we'll have a valedictory session. But before we end the inaugural of World Blockchain Symposium, let me also inform you that what APAC is trying to do. APAC News Network, we are headquartered in Noida with global offices in Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, and Australia. We are a knowledge consulting, community building media company which are trying to create knowledge sharing platforms on the importance and creating awareness on innovation for governance, healthcare, and education. And also we run a knowledge portal called APAC News Network, which again talks about innovation in governance, healthcare, education. And we are organizing a 3-day mega virtual India Digital Empowerment Meet and Awards in the month of July, 8 to 10 July. 3 days, 3 tracks on governance, healthcare, education, which will be attended by 100+ speakers from governance, from industry, and at least 1,000+ delegates from India and across the globe. So anybody who is interested to join, to collaborate with us, to try to seek opportunity in the digital empowerment era of India, do join us. With this, we come to the end of inaugural of APAC World Blockchain Symposium. Do join us 12 noon today for a session on blockchain-led innovations in pharma sector, the present, the future. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Goswami.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.